You feel the last bit of breath leaving their body. You're looking into their eyes. A person in that situation is God. The words you just heard weren't spoken by a horror movie villain. They came from a real man, one who walked among us, smiled at strangers, and charmed his way into the hearts of countless unsuspecting people. This is the chilling story of Ted Bundy, the man who became the face of evil in America, all while wearing the mask of the boy next door. Tonight, on Hidden Verdict, we're going deep inside the mind of one of the most terrifying killers in modern history. Ted Bundy wasn't born a monster, at least not in the way you might expect. Born Burlington, Vermont in 1946, Bundy spent his early years believing his mother was his sister and his grandparents were his parents. It was a lie designed to preserve appearances, but it planted seeds of confusion and resentment that would grow in disturbing ways. As a child, Bundy showed signs of social awkwardness, yet teachers described him as intelligent, even charming when he wanted to be. But behind that smile, darkness brewed. He had an obsession with violent crime stories and would secretly prowl neighborhoods, peering into windows. By his teenage years, he was already a skilled manipulator, someone who could shift from awkward to charismatic in an instant, depending on what he wanted. As Bundy entered adulthood, he crafted the perfect disguise, a clean-cut, ambitious law student. In the early 1970s, he volunteered in political campaigns, worked at a crisis hotline center, and appeared every bit the rising young professional. Few could have guessed that at the very same time, he was beginning a killing spree that would leave dozens of young women dead across multiple states. The timeline of his crimes reads like a trail of nightmares. In 1974, women began disappearing around Seattle. Linda Ann Healy vanished from her home. Donna Gail Manson disappeared walking to a concert. And then, on a single summer day at Lake Sammamish State Park, Bundy brazenly approached multiple women in broad daylight, using his real first name, pretending to have a broken arm, and asking for help loading a sailboat. Two of those women, Janice Ott and Denise Nusland, were never seen alive again. What made Bundy so terrifying wasn't just the brutality of his crimes, but how calculated they were. He crisscrossed states to avoid detection, moving from Washington to Utah, then Colorado and Florida, leaving behind a trail of death. He stalked his victims, many of them college students who resembled one another, slender, white, with long brown hair parted in the middle. It was as if he was hunting the same woman over and over again. Investigators now believe he killed at least 30 women, possibly more, though Bundy himself hinted the number was far higher. The more he got away with, the more reckless he became. But how did Bundy convince so many people he was harmless? This is where the psychology becomes truly disturbing. Bundy had what many psychologists describe as classic antisocial personality disorder, a lack of empathy, guilt, or remorse. But he combined this with something rarer, surface-level charm. Bundy understood human behavior like a predator understands its prey. He mirrored people's emotions, making them feel comfortable. He exploited social norms, our tendency to trust good-looking, well-dressed men. He even mimicked vulnerability by using props like arm slings or crutches, which disarmed suspicion and made his victims drop their guard. Psychologists later noted that Bundy's mask of normalcy was so convincing, even trained professionals were fooled. The paradox of Bundy, his clean-cut appearance masking monstrous acts, made him irresistible to the media. When he was finally arrested in Colorado in 1975 for kidnapping Carol Duranch, the public could hardly believe it. A handsome law student? A killer? As his trials unfolded, America became obsessed. In 1977, Bundy famously escaped custody not once but twice. First, he leapt from a courthouse library window. Later, he sawed a hole in his jail cell ceiling and crawled through the ventilation system to freedom. After his second escape, he drove across the country to Florida, where he unleashed his most notorious attack, the Chi Omega sorority murders at Florida State University in January 1978. Within just 15 minutes, he brutally attacked 4 women, killing 2 of them, and later murdered 12-year-old Kimberly Leach. It was a blood-soaked climax to his years of terror. Bundy's Florida trial became the first nationally televised murder trial in U.S. history. Cameras rolled as he acted as his own attorney, flashing smiles, joking with reporters, and even proposing marriage to Carol Ann Boone in open court. Women flooded the courtroom to watch him, describing him as handsome and charming, a phenomenon later dubbed hybristophilia, sexual attraction to people who commit violent crimes. The media circus turned Bundy into a twisted celebrity. But beneath the theatrics, the evidence was damning. Bite mark comparisons, eyewitness testimony, and stolen items from his victims. In 1979, Bundy was convicted and sentenced to death. He would spend the next decade filing appeals and giving interviews, often speaking about himself in the third person, as though discussing someone else entirely. As the years passed, Bundy became a grotesque symbol of evil hidden in plain sight, of how easily society can be deceived by appearance. On January 24, 1989, he was executed in the Florida State Prison electric chair. Crowds outside cheered, holding signs that read, "Burn, Bundy, burn." Even in death, he drew an audience. In his final days, Bundy admitted to more than 30 murders, though many experts believe the true number will never be known. He took the full truth with him to the grave. Decades later, Ted Bundy remains one of the most infamous names in American crime. Books, movies, documentaries, and endless theories continue to dissect his life. But what keeps people fascinated isn't just what he did, it's how he seemed so normal. Bundy forces us to confront an uncomfortable truth. Evil doesn't always look like a monster. Sometimes it looks like a friendly face, holding the door open, smiling as it walks past. That's what makes his story so haunting and so important to remember. So, what do you think truly drove Ted Bundy? Was it pure psychopathy or something darker that even he couldn't understand? I want to hear your thoughts. Leave a comment below and let's talk about it. And if you found this deep dive chilling yet fascinating, don't stop here. There's so much more to uncover. Subscribe to Hidden Verdict and watch our other true crime investigations, where we peel back the mask and reveal the unsettling truths hidden beneath. Your next obsession is just one click away.